This is the power pole outside my house, and it's leaned this way, a little to the left, for like 35 years. And tomorrow, supposedly, PG&E is going to come and replace it. The problem is they want to move it more to the left, which is where we park our cars. So that'll straighten the wires out, so it won't pull the new pole over the way this one's been pulled over. So I'm not sure. Contractor for PG&E came by today, and he's going to talk to his boss and see what they can do. Maybe reuse that hole. I mean, ideally it'd be maybe over here on the other side of the street, but so I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I have a 50-foot pole on order, which is like taller than this one. But I thought, heck, you know, maybe we can get a YouTube video out of this power pole replacement. Not sure. So we'll see. So the guys came out a couple of days ago and marked all the underground stuff. There's a gas line here, spray painting our nice road that we just repaved a couple of years ago. Of course, the transformer up there is grounded, and one of the things I've always liked about this old pole is that the ground wires coming down are protected by this kind of half round of wood. You know, I'm assuming when this is replaced today, they'll use conduit, or maybe they use wood for some reason. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me why, because I can't think of a reason why you would. There's another one on this side too. One of the things you may have noticed is that there's two guy wires on this pole, and the one on this side has been cut off. It was sagging for the longest time, and I think when my neighbors built their big fence here, they may have cut it off. I don't think PG&E cut it off, but they might have. It started to become a hazard because it was so floppy. So that gives you a sense of how much this is tipped over time. So the boys are here. I just talked to the boss, and they're going to try to reuse the existing hole, which they're unhappy about because it'll make the new pole lean, but it's better for us. And they may go try to get an easement in the future to guy it across the street to cover their butts. So here's the pole from the back of the house, and up at the top, the very top, is the high voltage, whatever it is, 600,000 volts, and the transformer that steps it down to 240 with a center tap to feed the house. And then below that is the communication layer with the cable and phone. As I say, no one's using the phone anymore. Then out in back here, I have generators all set up and ready to go, all parallel. Got a lot of YouTube videos on that if you look back in the history. Both how to parallel them and wiring this house to with a plug to receive the output. And it's a real circus. Everybody here. Well, what do we think this hose contraption is here? Of course, it's Mr. Jackhammer. Makes sense, putting the blade on the jackhammer. It's a pretty beefy jackhammer. I wonder if they have any plans to repair my concrete when this is over. Well, we'll see. Well, they're being fairly surgical. It's not a huge hole. So I guess they really can just kind of grab the pole and yank it straight up, maybe. Well, that's that. I guess I just take it apart now. Well, I'm going to do some bucket work now, it looks like. There's a guy with a hot stick climbing into the bucket. So this may be where we finally lose our power here. So power just went off right on time, and starting the generator up, and my neighbor's whole house generator is running now. The guy with the hot stick went down the street to the main road and disconnected it down there. And now it's bucket time up here. Oh, they're going bucket truck crazy. So they just moved that other bucket truck across the street. Looks like maybe they're gonna try to work it from both sides of the street and not block our road. They've got like 9 or 10 guys here, and 3 of them are traffic control, which don't have much to do except kind of sit around because there's still little traffic on our road. But all the different contractors, you know, each one sends out a couple of guys, and pretty soon you got a full load of people. Not cheap. So they stabbed in this little ground rod, and they're going to connect their safety cables to the T on the top. You'll see that in a minute. So they got a guy in each bucket, and they both have their hot sticks, and of course they don't need them because the line's de-energized, but good for moving the conductors, I guess. There goes number one. So the transformer comes down to that lower crossbar, which is the two service drops to my neighbor and my house. I'm in the sun here, so it's hard for me to see the viewfinder. Hot day today too. And the other guy's coming up now. Dropping some ropes, I guess maybe to lower cables. And so much for the transformer feeds, or transformer output. Yeah, now those are some wire cutters, huh? You can also use them to prune your shrubs, I guess. Got an ominous chemtrail across the sky. So the CIA is probably watching. Well, so much for my service drop. And now the neighbor's service drop is going to come down. They just come down enough to get it clear of cars and everything and then let it go. Unwieldy sucker. And he dropped it in his yard there. So all the outputs are disconnected. Service drops are gone, transformer output's gone. Now we only have the high tension lines coming to the pole, and the communication layer hasn't been touched. So they've clamped across, which I assume is a safety thing. If the circuit got energized, that would short it immediately and blow any kind of protection device they have on it. Well, there they go. And they connect the rope to the end of the conductor, take the insulators down. Huh. Yeah, so the yellow cable's all connected to that ground rod with the, you know, the handles. Those handles were clamp points that they shoved into the ground, so that if there's any stray static electricity, lightning pulses, or energizing, it'll short it right out and blow a protection and keep static off the line. So a charge doesn't jump through the air at high voltage and into your body. But again, that's all kind of prophylactic because the thing's de-energized. Now the left conductor, high voltage connector, came down fine. The right one, I guess they're going to lower down right now. Here it comes.
I got you, bud. Hold on 1 second. Got it.
So the question now is, do you bother, let me turn this down. Question now is, do you bother taking the transformer off the pole, or do you just take the whole pole out with the transformer? It's full of oil. So I guess they need to take it off. Yeah, he's unbolting it from the back. And they've been impact driving the mounting screws out, bolts out. And there's that harness. Looks like he's going to go for that top cross member too, because, you know, why not?
Set down over here so we'll knock the bushes off of it before the truck out.
And there we go. So that's everything off the pole except the communication layer. We pulled a little bit of the phone down, but the cable distribution amp, which is right there, hasn't been touched. I don't know if you need Comcast to do that, or because the communication companies get a free ride on PG&E's, the utility here, Pacific Gas and Electric's poles, whether they can just do it themselves. I don't see any Comcast trucks. Oh, excuse me, I mean Xfinity. So it looks like the guy at the top has gone to attack the guy cable that goes way back over there across my neighbor's yard. He's opened up his gate so they can move a bucket truck in there in a minute to lower it down maybe from that side. Come along thing. Yeah, trying to get the bolt out. Oh, surprised he's just not using some lineman pliers like I do. A hammer. Well, these are professionals. And they're just going to lower that away. So they didn't have to bring a bucket truck into my neighbor's yard after all, so that's nice. Meanwhile, this fellow on the bottom is still working on disconnecting the old phone lines. So all the AC stuff's off the pole and just this low voltage stuff to do. So these boys are fast. It's been just a little over an hour since they started, and they've already got the pole mostly stripped here. Well, they're yanking on that cross member, but they haven't touched the cable system, which is nice because that's my internet. The wife's inside using it. So maybe they'll just drop the cable to the ground. Yeah. or let it float there. Guy on the ground just fired up a chainsaw, so now I'm thinking they're gonna cut this thing down like a tree in pieces so they don't have to deal with the whole mass. And they just yank the stump. Yep, here comes the chainsaw. Yeah, now they're taking the pole's grounding cable up, which was under a kind of a, you know, that half wooden protector. They don't use conduit. It's a little strange, but the wood's held up really well, and it's been, you know, 50, 60 years. Well, their power tools are like mine. Don't want to start. There we go. So there's the top of the pole coming down. Sorry I missed the moment it separated, had a little camera trouble there. And so here's old Stumpy now. So it looks like they're just gonna let the Comcast line just sag there, which is nice because we get to have our internet all day. And that means they don't have to touch Comcast's infrastructure at all, except to unhook it from the pole and let it float. Yeah, they're starting to move the new pole around a little bit. To what end, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, going wrong. Good luck, man.
And you just pluck it right out, huh? That's a neat toy. Well, it's not in the ground very far. My goodness, you put a fence post in farther than that. Maybe that had something to do with why it was leaning. Now they're wheeling this baby in. I don't know, it's the Suckmaster 6000. So they have some kind of sleeve on the Suckmaster 6000 here. Don't know if they're going to suck water out or put a casing down. So they brought out this wand, and now I think they're going to do some pressure washing digging and then use the Suckmaster to vacuum away the dirt and water. Yep, it's a big vacuum cleaner. They're using it to suck debris out of the hole. And then I imagine he'll go in with that pressure washer and get even more debris out of the hole. Well, that's certainly easier than a big post hole digger. Of course, they got the giant auger on that the plucker machine. Oh baby, it's revving up. Yeah, so he's just running the pressure washer around the side and cleaning out the hole. Hope he makes it deeper. In the background, these guys are analyzing what it's going to take to pluck the new pole off the bed there with the auger grabber. And in fact, they are plucking it off the bed with the auger grabber. So heck, are they going to have the new pole in the ground before lunch? Can't believe it. Because we're really, what are we? Now it's about 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours. Little leak in the pressure washing system there. I assume they're pumping all the waste into a tank on board, but he's getting down there. Getting pretty deep. He's down the length of that whole extension tube they put on the Suckmaster. Well, he's putting an extension on the pressure washer, so he's going to keep going down, it looks like. It's been about 25 minutes of this. Well, I guess I'll take a break and come back when he turns all this off and he's down as far as he wants to go. So he's broken down his extensions and is wiping everything off here. He's down 12 or 15 feet, as far as I can figure. And this is a 50-foot pole going in, the new one, so I'm told. So as a percentage of the total, it's not it's not a great deal, but you can see there's quite a lot of pipe down there now. So blessed quiet again after 45 minutes of that. Guys are coming by to look down the hole. As the fire sign theater says, just dig a hole deep enough and sooner or later everyone will want to jump into it. It has to kind of hold the phone line out of the way. It was snagging on it a little bit. And so we say goodbye to the mighty Suckmaster. I don't want any jokes about how this channel is the Suckmaster. You guys be good. Meanwhile, over here, these guys have affixed the crossbars and whatnot to the new pole, getting it ready to go. And they may have been eating lunch while this other guy was drilling the hole. I'm thinking here's a view I've never seen before and will never see again. This area of my front yard with no power pole in it, which is the way it would be if we undergrounded our utilities like, you know, civilized countries. But no, we'd rather have the forest fires and everything. Anyway. Go ultra wide for a minute here. What an attractive gray color. Is that a protective wrapping on it, or? So yeah, it has like a protective wrapper on it, and I guess, is that steel up there now for the crossbeam? That's nice. And then the ground line they've already put in place, and no more half rounds of wood to protect it. That looks like just regular weather insulation, UG style stuff. And then I don't know what they use for the ground rod connection down in the hole. Seems like maybe they put the top arm upside down, so they're talking about flipping over the high voltage sign. And the guy goes, no, you can't read it up here. But I think they've also turned it to face the pole down at the bottom of the hill, which is on the other side of the street, so that it won't so that's less likely to bend over to the left the way the old one did. Yeah, and they can just drop ground rods into the hole, which is a lot nicer than driving them. Believe me. So they'll tie that together into a ground system. That's pretty cool. Using the shovel to deflect it into the hole is a nice touch. So that's our gravel. I don't know if there's concrete in that as well, or cement in that as well, that they will make into concrete by adding water. A little too much, so it takes them back, but so the boys are kind of standing around and taking pictures now. I think there's some kind of inspection thing they have to go through now that the pole is set. And then the rest of this is just going to be doing it in the reverse order, rehanging the communication layer and connecting the high tension lines and the feeders. So I'm not sure how much of this I'll film, but we'll see. It looks like we're getting a new transformer as well. So connecting that guy cable back up, it goes over my neighbor's driveway. I think the old cable's coming up a little short, so they're gonna have to change it or extend it. I think they need that cable too, because as I'm looking down the fence line, assuming this is level, the new pole is leaning forward, so the cable on the back would pull it straight.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Got it?
And now they are flying the main high voltage connectors back into conductors back into place. And again, they've got the safety clamps shorting the two phases, so if they were to become energized, the circuit breaker would blow immediately, instead of just coming up to potential and staying there and maybe killing someone. And now it's transformer time. So the guy asked the people on the ground to prepare him a secondary tool bag, so I guess they have a tool set up to do all the secondary connections, which would be the service drops, all the 240 split phase stuff. It's smaller. So we'd expect there to be some efficiency improvements in the last 50 years. So they started about 9:30, 10 in the morning, and it's, I don't know what, 2:30, 3 in the afternoon now. And they've been moving continuously. I guess they're reusing my neighbor's service drop and they're making it a little longer because it was a little short. So they're getting the drops ready on the ground before they fly them. And they got one of those cool Milwaukee pressure crimper things for big wire to make the connections. It's kind of like a handheld hydraulic press. You put different dies into it to squish splices. And his leg's in the way, unfortunately, there, but he's using his own compression fitting tool up there to connect the secondary to the service drops. So no more lower cross brace, just attachment point for the messenger cables. Sporty. And I think they're going to bring the juice up and then worry about hanging the Comcast stuff back up, and they're done. And the power came back on, and the generators were running for 5 hours and 19 minutes. So that's how long it took them, which is pretty quick in my book. Well, 4:15, they're done and getting ready to drive off into the distance. Goodbye, old pole. You are rock hard and solid. So there we are, all done. Without that lower crossbar for the comm stuff, it's a little more austere, but I guess that's okay. I wasn't sure how I felt about this gray. It's got this wrapper on it, but I kind of like it now because it blends in with my neighbor's fence. And I'm not sure what this does. Maybe keep squirrels from climbing it, because I know they've had trouble with squirrels climbing up and chewing on the transformer and blowing themselves to bits. Or maybe it's for rot or something. Someone out there will know and will tell me in the comments. And then here's the new ground line cable. And of course, they weren't too fussy about the ground here, so I guess at some point I will pay to have cement and pebble dash put back in here as it was, and, you know, asphalt this or whatever and clean it up, because they were pretty, dump gravel in it and go. It's not perfectly plumb, but it's a lot better than it was. So I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.